Hello everyone and welcome back to Defense of the Australians Summer 2014. We have our lower bracket third place decider here between Coronae, Australis and Caffeinated. I'm Celarif and I'm joined by Dodayoshi. How are we doing this evening? Or this afternoon I should say.
I'm doing quite well. I just found a bargain for our cheap roses for Valentine's Day, so I'm ecstatic. Cheap stuff.
Yay!
Yes.
Cheap love.
Yes, cheap love. It's the best kind of love. Kappa.
Yeah.
So Kona, yeah, sorry, you go ahead.
I was just going to say, we'll hop right into the drafting. We do have Timbersaw and Marana getting banned. Yeah, pretty common bans. Both of these teams, Caffeinated and Coronae, have done really well. They did well in the group stages. Both of them pretty close to going into the upper bracket, but unfortunately for both of them, they came to the lower bracket and they have come pretty far. This is the third place decided, so whichever team wins here will be receiving, I don't remember how much, I think it's $72 for the lower bracket place. That much. And TA gets banned out there by Caffeinated.
Yeah, Caffeinated, they take out that TA, but I think it was Coronae or Australis that were up against TA, and TA did quite well. And they will be taking out the Visage, so we have the Timbersaw, very strong offlaner, Visage is gone, Marana is going down for Caffeinated and TA, and they will pick up a Bristleback, a strong offlaner indeed.
I'm a little surprised they banned the Visage. Kaizik did pretty well on him in the game up against last Ronin, so a little bit surprising there, but maybe they've got something else in mind, something they specifically want to use here for Coronae Australis.
Maybe they're counting to effect if they lose Jumbo Legs again that they're gonna throw Kaizik onto controlling both heroes again, but let's hope that doesn't happen. And I agree with you there. They did quite well in the Visage. Kaizik played quite well. They were doing a lot of aggression. He was getting a lot of those picks off on that tier 1 tower down at bottom lane. He found himself a kill with that soul assumption, and he was getting the stuns off. They weren't the perfect stuns, so I think they might be going for a hero that can land their stuns 100% or get their control on 100%, because Kaizik unfortunately was not getting 100% of those stuns, but he was doing well in that soul assumption and grave chill area, and he was doing a lot of harassment early on against the Marana. I mean, Marana struggled to come into lane, threw out a grave chill, threw out auto attacks, and then Marana was gone and you didn't see her again.
Yeah, pretty much. Coronae Australis, so they're just going to pick up a Weaver and a Bane for this game, and Caffeinated, they're responding with the Bristleback Venomancer. So this Bane, it can certainly, it's a little bit unfortunate that Marana's banned now, because it can help out set up some abilities here. It can combo well with heroes like Gyrocopter, because you can Nightmare and then just get nice and close to that Rocket Barrage, but we'll see exactly what Coronae have planned.
I think Bane in general is just a fantastic hero. It works with most people, and if you have a BKB up and running, you just throw that Fiend script out. You have 5 seconds of free auto attack damage onto that hero. So if someone thinks they can get aggressive, they can dive underneath that tower. Fiend script, I think it's about a 550 range, so it's almost your auto attack range, which pretty much can keep you behind the lines in safety while you can grab that off. So Bane's always a nice pickup, and that Enfeeble will do quite well. I mean, throw it onto a Bristleback when he gets his Warpath stacks going. Well, there goes his Warpath stacks. They're not going to be helping him. He'll still get the speed, but he won't get that additional damage because that Enfeeble is on top. Or of Caffeinated decide to pick up very strong right-click heroes such as maybe a Luna, or pretty much any right-click damage because you need one. That Enfeeble is going to be quite well in the fight, being able to effectively half damage or even negate it at the start of the game with that Enfeeble.
I mean, exactly as you said, that Enfeeble is quite powerful to shutting down those carries. And Fiend's Grip is just amazing, especially if there's no Rubik on the field. I wouldn't be too surprised if Coronae actually banned out the Rubik, just to ensure that Bane's Fiend's Grip can't get stolen. It's because yeah, if a Rubik steals Fiend's Grip, it can turn the fight completely around. We've seen it happen before. It happens quite a lot, but Caffeinated, they've gone for the Magnus ban. Yeah, like OD ban, very interesting. I mean, OD ban is common. I gotta say, they sort of put themselves in this situation where, yeah.
It's strange because you have Sakuchi, which Ruby can steal, which is one of the best abilities. That's not an ultimate. You have Time Lapse, he can also maybe somehow grab, which generally he won't. But you got Sakuchi, you got the Fiend script, and it's so easy to grab that Fiend script, as you said, and turn it back around on top of their side. It's a little bit strange. We'll see if Caffeinated decide to pick it up. They do need some kind of lockdown. At the moment, they have control. They've got Venomancer's Gale, and he's dot damages slow. You've got Bristleback with his nasal goo and his spines, but his nasal goo is there for a little bit of a slow and negative armor. They don't have this control in terms of stun, which Ruby can offer now if they gets picked up. Coronae, Australis, they'll be picking up the Gyrocopter. You did call it, you had the Nightmare and that Rocket Barrage. That's a very scary combination coming on top of there. And not to mention, you can also Nightmare into a cooldown and Rocket Barrage if so desire.
10 seconds
Yep. Yeah, it's certainly a very powerful combination, and you can combo this with
5 seconds
pretty much any support and it'll work well. Maybe we'll see something a little bit unusual like a Lena, or maybe even a Shrek, which we haven't seen in ages. Or maybe, who knows, maybe we'll see something like the Jakiro, which is so loved.
Yes,
it'll also help them, just give them a little bit of AoE, and in those team fights they're going to be so powerful.
You don't know how much I wanted Jakiro now after you mentioned that. Jakiro wasn't going through my mind, and now it's like, oh, Jakiro, yes, Ice Pass, please.
I didn't expect it.
Oh, yes!
There you go!
I get a Jakiro one way or another.
Yeah, not quite on the team we were sort of predicting, but I didn't predict that Coronae would have picked him up one way or another, but as we can see, there is a few unusual pieces.
Yeah, but this is what Caffeinated needed. They needed some kind of lockdown, and Jakiro offers that with his Ice Path.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It's a very nice ability. Throw it down. Anyone who walks into it stuns. You can throw it on top of that Venomancer's Gale and continue the fight on from there. If so, you're gonna get a lot of damage. It's hard. That's a lot of burst damage coming out from Jakiro. His initial damage from his Jewel Breath is no longer there, but the burn damage over time, on top of Venomancer's burn damage, or his poison damage over time, that's going to be one thing Coronae have to be so ridiculously careful about, because if a Jewel Breath and a Gale with one auto attack come out from Venomancer, that is potential 500-600 damage coming your way over pretty much 10 to 15 seconds. That you're not going to be prepared for. You can't salve it because it's gonna proc it off. I believe it procs off. I know there's some DOTs that you can salve through. I'm not sure if those ones are. There's just going to be so much potential burn damage there at the start of the game that they have to be careful, or they're just going to fall down. Even if they find a kill on a Venomancer or Jakiro, that burn damage and tick damage that they have can find these heroes. Not to mention, Macropyre in these fights are going to be quite well. As a lot of these heroes, they have short attack ranges. Weaver's got short, Bane and Gyrocopter, they have short attack range, so they're going to be coming in close. And if they're trying to come in close, Macropyre can be used as a zoning tool, which can help do the damage there.
Yeah, and I gotta say, Jakiro's Ice Buff, been a little changed as well. It does 50 damage at all levels now compared to before where it went 25, 50, 75, 100. So it does a little bit more damage, I guess, at the start of the game, like in the first few minutes until you start leveling up, in which case only the stun increases. So there's that a little bit of a change. I guess it's not as good in the late game in that sense. But Caffeinated, they did pick up the Windrunner, so pretty strong offlane hero. Actually, I gotta say this is a little bit interesting because you got the Bristleback, so we might. I'll be curious to see
Looks
which
like
one
Bristleback
goes.
will be rotating to the safe lane, I would say. Having a safe lane Bristleback.
I would have said the same thing, just because when he's more dependent on those items, whereas Wind Ranger not so much.
Yeah, she has her escape mechanism of her wind run. She's got a shackle for a lockdown. She got damage from a power shot. She doesn't necessarily need the items, as she can work towards, mechanism for stuff and all that, which is useful but not necessary, as other heroes can pick that up themselves. So I agree with you there. I think they're going to go for that and try and get him as beastly as possible. Over on the side of Australis, they got the Rubik, but yet trying to pick up that big spells from these heroes such as Jakira and that Ice Path. If you can get a counter Ice Path going on, that's 2.5 seconds of lockdown. Maybe a Viper, because the only he can cast is now Viper Strike, so you can pick up an easy Viper Strike from there, so which is going to be quite nice. And Zeus will be the final pickup coming from Coronae with a lot of burst potential, and Zeus ulti, everyone's favourite ulti in the game.
Yep. Trying to run away? Nope. From heaven. But let's introduce the teams now. On the side of Caffeinated, we have Samus on the Venoman, so we've got Dante on the Jakiro, Zaku is on the Wind Ranger, Fen is on the Viper, and Scooty Puff Jr. on the Bristleback, which will be a safe lane Bristleback.
And over to the side of Coronae Australis, they do have Rylos will be picking up your Rubik. You got the Magi Bomb will be taking your carry, Gyrocopter for the game. Diathe Darkrai will be on your Weaver. On your Zeus will be Jumbo Legs, and finally but not least, Bane will be picked up by Kazakh.
Hopefully Jumbo Lags doesn't Jumbo Lag this game. Oh, no, that was terrible. But we see that both teams, except for really Zaku, they're sort of moving on into the jungle, and they're going to try to... I guess there's probably going to be an engagement here based on... Yeah, we'll see who they sort of
They've
both...
got each other right now, so... Yeah.
Sort of split each other out and could go, yeah, nah.
I'm a little bit surprised. I mean, that ward is now showing there's 3 heroes here, and it could have been a turn for them to turn around and trying to initiate. Same time that Zaku, he went up top lane, he's going to get a nice squad on this pull cap, so he's not going to be too worried about that. Weaver's going to be going top, they're going to be running the aggressive tri-lane down bottom. Bane, Rubik, Gyrocopter up against a Venomancer, Jakiro, and Bristleback. Who do you think will be the victor in this situation?
Well, it's got to be... These pulls are going to be very important. If you can pull a lot to stop this Gyrocopter from getting a lot of farm, then certainly I feel like Caffeinated may have the advantage, but Coronae Australis have the opportunity to really get a lot of early kills with this lane. It's very powerful. You've got the lift, you've got the Nightman, you've got the Rocket Barrage, which no matter who they grab here, is probably going to die very, very quickly. Maybe Bristleback could survive, maybe.
This is going to be a very hard lane for the Bristleback. I mean, he's a melee hero up against 3 ranged heroes, and here we go, we got the Nightmare out, but we have a Rocket Barrage there. Looks like, come on, we've got a lift coming up. Ice Puff onto Magic Bomb, the one hero you need to get in there. Will Samus go down? Samus, he's on the run. He's not going to fall from the final attack. However, Bristleback will pick up his kill on top of Kazakh, and that's 1 kill for him. He's still chasing down, he's still got more Spine Burst. He picks up a double kill. Will he get the 3rd one? The salve is popped, but he picks up an instant double kill in the 1 minute mark. This is big for Caffeinated.
Yeah, and Coronae Australis, that tri-lane is pretty much shut down at this point. I mean, it's...
There's a smiley face on the map.
Smiley face, yeah. I feel I lost my train of thought. I gotta say, it was weird that Ruby picked up the Fade Bolt at level 1 and not the lift. It sort of meant that their positioning was not as good as they were hoping for. And the Rocket
Rubik's got
Barrage...
the lift.
Oh, he does? Oh, no, he does too. Okay,
lift.
never mind. Forget that. Did he even use it there? I didn't...
After the nightmare, he picked it up, and then as he threw him back towards Magibomb, the ice path came out by Jakiro,
okay.
and that ice path basically meant that Magibomb got stopped in his tracks and couldn't get close to find that kill. So that ice path pretty much saved Samus and saved him that item. Speaking of the lift, here we go, lift coming on into that rock barrage. Not going to be effective. Once again, Date, he throws down the ice path, defending, he's carrying that lane.
Yeah, I didn't see the lift go out, and I knew, like, Magibomb's rocket barrage, as you said, you know, it didn't get as much effectiveness as you would have liked. I thought it was because he didn't actually level the lift, which my mistake, he did. But yeah, that's certainly a lost opportunity there for Coronae Australis, and now they're behind on levels. This Bristleback's level 3.